here? We shall find out. Alrighty. Nobody there. Good evening. Is the frequency in use? I take it that's a no. We'll try one more time. Is the frequency in use? All right, very good. This is K4PEW. My name is Paul. Net control for the Mount Juliet Simplex Radio Net is in emergency or priority traffic. Also take that as a no. Never hear any. Must be no emergencies and no priority traffic ever. We'll break in at any time for emergency or priority traffic if you have a problem, other than, like I've said before, moving a body or taking somebody to the airport. For information on this net, you can see us on YouTube right now, and that would be on either looking up the word Brain Trusts channel, BRAINTRUSTS, or you can see us on, we'll do the same search in the YouTube search block under my call, K4PEW, should bring it right up. Or you can look us up on the web on 146415.net, same as the frequency, 146415.net. Or you can look us up on Yahoo Groups, which is MJ_SS, or just send me an email at K4PEW@ARRL.net. Okay, and so the net normally meets at 8 p.m. every Wednesday and Saturday night, which we're doing tonight. And of course, it's Wednesday, and we're on 146.415 FM Simplex if you happen to be not on frequency. Purpose of the net is to support and train ham radio operators to have fun as if they needed to be trained. Now, to have fun on Simplex and get their stations better, which has been a big thing going on in this, the people who participate regularly, getting better systems and antennas and a better antenna height. We invite everyone to use the net to announce amateur radio events and activities in support of the local community. Does anybody have any announcements? All righty. Of course, we want to remind everybody about the ARRL Field Day, which is in June. It's June 22nd and 23rd. I know the Wilson Club is coordinating some things, and I'm not sure the location, but we'll probably find out when somebody butts in here. And I also have the Wilson County Amateur Radio Net, which is tomorrow night at 8 p.m. And that's on 147.105 plus offset and a PL on 156.7. And last but not least, you want to make sure you put it on your calendar for July 27th, the Mid-Tennessee Ham Quest at the fairgrounds, the Wilson County Fairgrounds near Lebanon. Everybody should know where that is. So, anybody questions or additions, deletions, subtractions? Please comment. Nothing heard. Well, then we shall start taking check-ins then. Today, this is our edition number 488. You can imagine that. And we're starting from the south of France, South Beach. That's in Miami. South, anyway, we're starting from the south of 40. Please come now.
K4OFO.
Hey, Donnie, we missed you last week, did we?
Man, I have not been on here for about 3 weeks. I have been busy, and I got a busy schedule. It was coming up, but I thought I might all check in tonight, let everybody know so far I'm still kicking.
Yeah, well, good. I'm glad you checked in. See, if you don't check in, we got a new rule. You get, we tell the ARRL and they demote you.
I'm sorry, I just kind of had other things come up and just didn't been getting to it, but I'm gonna try to get back again because I do miss it when I don't get on the net.
Busy schedule. You're retired, man.
I know it, but I got a daughter that's keeping me, our granddaughter keeping me going. She's an ice skater. She's in competition all over, so I'm trying to support her as much as I can. So got to keep her going. She's going back to nationals again this year, so we're keeping her fingers crossed.
Oh, that sounds great. How old is she?
17 years old.
Oh man, obviously she's pretty good.
Yeah, she's an ice dancing, and for a 17-year-old, she's done extremely well. We're real proud of her.
Yeah. I used to do a lot of ice skating. Well, when I was young, I went up in the northern areas, and then they moved all the ice south, so everybody south gets to play too.
Great, I appreciate it. I'll let you get back to others. Good to wish everybody 73s, and hope to hear about on that tonight.
Very good. Good to have you in there, Donnie. That was Donnie. It's Kilo 4 Oscar, Foxtrot Oscar. Sounds like he's a ice dancing grandfather. That's what he is. He's attending some needs of a granddaughter who's apparently a championship ice skater. And he's south of me, about 6 miles south of Interstate 40. Interstate 40 south of me. Oh, it's on the east side of Mount Juliet Road. Who else we got south of 40?
KE4 SYV.
Hey, Larry, how's things going in Rockville?
Doing good, Paul. So cutting grass.
Yeah, well, if it rains, it's going to cut. I already got mine cut. Now it's dry and short still.
Yeah, now we just got to sit back and wait.
Yeah, well, I guarantee it'll come back up again. I fertilized it, of course. That really helps it coming up. All right, very good, Larry. Good to have you in here. You don't have nothing added to the net?
No, nothing tonight.
All right, very good. Good to have you in there. It's Larry in Rockville, Kilo Echo 4, Sierra Yankee Victor. Great signal as always. Who else we got south of 40?
84 ZGY.
Hey, how are you doing tonight there, Ed?
Doing great. Looking forward to that big cold down tomorrow. It's supposed to be a big chill coming in here.
Man, I bought a new storm door for the back door today, which faces west. And I said, well, I'll just go out and see how hot it is. It was about 4 o'clock. I came right back in. I ain't putting in that door right now.
Well, they say it's supposed to be a cool down tomorrow, about 3 degrees.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 80 something, I guess, huh?
Yeah, well, if we can take it all, sit me on the front porch and give me a glass of tea, and I'm ready for it.
Oh, I got you. No, it's not a good day to be working in the sun. At least today wasn't, for sure. Well, very good. Everything going well for you down there in Shake Rag?
Doing real well. I appreciate you letting me in. Hope you have the rest of the good net there, and everybody comes in good and strong for you. Kilo Delta 4 Zulu Golf Yankee. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, well, you were just pushing almost S6 there, so you're doing a great job tonight, Ed. I don't know if it's conditions or just conditions, but you sound great.
I am on a different antenna tonight. My beams is pointed south.
Oh, is that right? Well, you're doing real fine. All right, that was Ed in Shake Rag down there near Shelbyville. That's Kilo Delta 4 Zulu Golf Yankee. Who else south of 40? Please come in. Nobody else south of 40.
W4 yet?
Oh, are you trying to look on the map to see if you were south?
Well, I couldn't make up my mind if I wanted to be east or south.
I got you. And one of your relatives was having a baby, and you weren't sure if you were going to be an aunt or an uncle either, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, I wasn't sure. For some reason, I thought this was Thursday night, but I did check into the right net.
Okay. We haven't ever had that Thursday there. Yeah, so you're getting old like me. You can't remember what days what. My wife has to tell me when the nets are.
Wow. I guess we need to start carrying a calendar with us too.
Yeah, I know it. Well, it's like I told you may have heard me say this. I think a great addition to the radio hobby would be the newer radios are so sophisticated. It seems to me you just program when the nets are, they fire up on those times, like 10 minutes ahead of time, and then they alert you through some method. I don't know what method. They don't use beepers anymore. And then they just, maybe we just set them to also check you in,
Yeah, well, I'm already using the cat. He reminds me when to take my medicine, when to eat, when to get up, when to go to bed.
How do you do that? A cat sleeps most of the time.
When he gets hungry, he lets you know.
Oh, I got you. I got you. Well, very good. You get a good signal tonight, as always, Ed. That's Whiskey 4 Echo Bravo X-ray. He's over here in Gladeville, east of Mount Juliet, south of 40. Good to have you in there, Ed. Who else south of 40? Over to the east, then. East of Mount Juliet. Please come in.
WA4ZHI.
Hello, James. How are you doing?
Yeah, that's my name. I'm doing all right.
Sometimes I have a time delay built into my brain.
Good time last Saturday.
Yeah, it was good. We had what? I didn't. Was it 12 people or was it? I don't even know if I counted.
I think I counted 8, but I'm not sure.
Well, there was 3 at our table, and then there was more than 5 at your table.
Well, it don't matter now.
It might have been only 8, but I don't think it was, but it doesn't matter. So I might have lied in my email. Well, very good. You sound good tonight, James. That's Whiskey Alpha 4 Zulu Hotel India. Who else east of Mount Juliet Road?
Bravo.
We had a double in there. Was that HQE, did I hear?
Yeah, good evening, Paul. Bob, KK4HQ.
Ah, very good. I also heard Richard in there, but KK4HQ, how are you, Bob?
Doing well, thank you. Doing well. Had a wonderful day today. How about yourself?
Yeah, it was fine. It was a kind of an easy day, just trying to straighten some things out. All I just ended up doing is making a bigger mess.
I know what you mean. We had just redid the deck on the back portion. I was doing some work out there, rearranging things and trying to finish it off.
Yeah, well, I got my shack here / office / storage space ends up. I try to find something. I said, man, where did I put that? I haven't seen it in a year, so I have no idea where to look for anything. So it gets to be a pain.
Yeah, I'm afraid to straighten my shack up. I never will find anything.
Well, if I do find it, then I'll forget where I put it the next time.
Roger. Very good, Paul. Nice to hear you. KK4HQ.
Yeah, very good. Good to have you in there, Bob. And Bob's over in Lebanon. That's Kilo 4 Hotel Quebec. Great signal. I think everybody who's got an independently located shack, it ends up a mess. Unless, I don't know anybody who's got, some people don't have it in a room all by itself, but I do, and it becomes the catch-all for everything that I own. So anyway, good to have you in there, Bob. Who else east of Mount Juliet Road?
Bravo India 4, Sierra India Bravo.
Hey, big 25 watt man.
Yeah, buddy, I'm setting the world on fire.
Well, you're doing fine to me. I just don't know how you're doing to others. That can't wait for HamQuest, huh?
Amen. I think that's about the only way I'm going to solve this issue.
Well, yeah, I suppose. I mean, you could if you wanted to. I don't know if because you actually want 2 meters and 70 centimeters, right? In one rig.
Yeah.
Well, a basic 2 meter 70 centimeter rig, what? $200, $220? I forget. I haven't looked recently.
Well, that's what I was using until I kind of put it into malfunction junction.
Yeah, I know. Well, I don't know. So like I've said, I don't know what you did, and I have no idea what you could have done, but it's just so funny to me how reliable the name brand radios are. The Kenwoods, the Icoms, the Yaesus, even my Linko, my 2 meter Linko operates flawlessly. So you begin to, I always have had, and I think everybody does have a, kind of a question mark in their heads about the Woshan, Bofang, I can't think of the other names right now, but I'm talking about the really low end or the low cost. I'll call them that, the low cost radios.
Yeah, sometimes that's probably not the best route to go, but you do what you do.
Well, I'll give you it's a silly example because it doesn't relate to radio, but I wanted to get a nice quality 35 millimeter camera. This was some years ago, and it was in the 80s. And I wanted a Nikon, one of the nice Nikons, and I knew it, but I wouldn't buy it. It It was their entry level. They put out like a consumer model 35 millimeter radio. It was like $100, and then the other icons, the other Nikons was like 400. Just to start talking about it, 500. What does my wife do? But she goes out and buys me one of the, and I used it. I used it diligently for several years until I had enough money to buy a used, really nice one. And the difference was so interesting to me. The ability that you take and they were both made by the same company. And the low end retail one was like a Kodak Instamatic by comparison to the very expensive good model they make. You know what I'm saying? It's just the difference is sometimes maybe it may seem like a lot of money, but there's a whole world of difference.
Well, it's like General Motors builds Cadillacs and they build little Chevy Cobalts. You can, they're both GM products, but they're worlds apart from one another in size, quality, and durability. I mean, there's no comparison between the two. And it's the same thing with a whole lot of other things, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess. No, Pinto was made by somebody else, wasn't that Ford?
I said the Chevy Cobalt.
No, I know. I was just thinking about something cheaper than the Cobalt. It's the Ford Pinto.
Yeah. that was a bad car. That's right in line with the AMF Gremlin.
I thought the Gremlin, I remember the first time I saw one, it was back around whenever they came out in 1970-ish, maybe, 69 or 70. And then I realized very quickly that I didn't want one of them.
No. First time I saw one, I thought, no, not my car.
Very good. That was Richard, Kilo India 4, Sierra India Bravo. And he's got a radio that was supposed to be 50 watts, and now it's 25. And we're hoping to get a new radio, I guess. And that's Kilo India 4, Sierra India Bravo. And he's just west of Lebanon. Who else up? Where was I? East of Mount Juliet.
C4TWF.
Hey, Wes, you get your workout done today?
Yep, I'm on the beam. You're better than S3. Better than S unit stronger than the vertical. Otherwise, Richard was sounding good, full bars.
Yeah, it's funny. On the beam, you're not even registering all the audio is very good.
Well, I am where I am. All right, KD4TW.
Oh, I know. That's like I said, I used that beam to go into the Bowling Green Simplex Net last night, and I don't know that I was, busting down any RF barriers up there, but they heard me fine, and I could hear at least two of the guys on the net who had decent antennas. So it's all about just getting an antenna up high enough and good enough to get the message heard, and you're doing fine. And that was West Kilo Echo 4 Tango Whiskey India near Watertown. Who else we got? East, please come in.
KM4 YRS portable.
I heard two in there, maybe three. I heard Michael in there. Hold on, I'll go take Michael first. How you doing, Michael? You get your car problems resolved?
No, not yet. I'm still waiting to hear from the machine shop.
Yeah, you might have to take it out and shoot it,
I might do that too.
Is that did I hear that was a Hyundai? Is that what you're riding?
Yeah, it's an 08 Hyundai Elantra. It's been a great car. I've never had to do anything to it until now, and it's just one of those things. And by the way, tell Richard I had a good copy of him on this HT.
You hear that, Richard? He was copying you fine on his HT. Michael was over in Belshire.
Well, I'm in Mount Juliet. Wish I could say the same for him, but I've got something else going on over here besides my antenna now. I decided I've got to do something different over here. But anyway, y'all carry on. I'll lick my wounds and come back fighting later. KI4SIB.
All right, very good. No, he was in Mount Juliet. I'm mistaken, but he was on a handheld in Mount Juliet and heard you just fine. So hanging out here in Mount Juliet, are you?
Yeah, kind of rough without transportation, but make it do.
I'll lend you my bicycle.
That'd be a long ride to work. I wouldn't be able to work after I rode all the way into Nashville.
No, you wouldn't. You got to go uphill to get back downhill from Mount Juliet.
Yeah, I know that very well.
All right, very good. Good to have you in there, Michael. I hope you get your car problems resolved. That was Kilo Mike 4 Yankee Romeo Foxtrot. He's on his handheld here in Mount Juliet somewhere. Sounds good to me. I did hear somebody else in there. Who was it? I hear another station that was trying to check in east of Mount Juliet.
KE4DEZ.
Hey, I was wondering, I hadn't heard you in a couple of nets. How you doing, Earl?
Doing pretty well. Just working on cleaning up my jungle so I can get to my up and down situation on my antenna and everything, and busier than a cat on a hot tin roof, so to speak.
Yeah, you just need to get up that 100-foot tower. You'll be all set.
I know that's right, and put that 13B2 up on it. And I don't know if I still ain't made up my mind where. I guess I'll put that thing on vertical to start with. That way, I maybe make more propagation out there.
Yeah, well, you're doing fine. Your audio is very good. Your signal strength, as usual, is not tremendous, but you got a real good audio.
Okay. Well, that ain't bad for my 12-foot off-the-ground antenna. Anyway, I hope everybody had a good, long, satisfying, enjoyable weekend, and all that go with that, Paul. We'll catch you next time around. KE4DEZ 73.
Yeah, very good, Earl. That's Earl over there in Noreen, just east of the Cedars of Lebanon Forest and Park over there. It's Kilo Echo 4 Delta Echo Zulu. Who else do we have east? Please come in. I heard a buzz.
Whiskey Delta 4 Bravo, Whiskey Charlie.
How you doing tonight, Jeff?
Doing okay. I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
Real good. You know, it's funny. Every time I do a net, I notice it every time I do it. While I'm sitting here, I don't pay much attention to. I'm sitting still. Usually, I'm sitting. I don't move much. You know, I'm not moving around on a chair, wheeling around. But after an hour on the air, I get up and I go, "Oh my gosh, am I stiff?" My arthritis kicks in. It's always funny. I don't notice it till I go to stand up.
Yeah, I know what that is.
Yeah, well, in my case, it's just getting old. I don't know what your problem is.
Working too much.
Can I confirm that with your ex-wife?
Yeah, she's on the phone for me.
All right. Very good. That's Jeff over in Lebanon. It's Whiskey Delta 4 Bravo Whiskey Charlie. Good signal. Good to have you in there, Jeff. Got a bunch of people in Lebanon. It's funny how there's so many. Who else? East, please come down. Anybody else east? Last chance, not last chance, second to last chance. All righty, up to the north of Mount Juliet, north of Mount Juliet Road, or north of Lebanon Road.
KB9 RKK, no Mobile.
Hold on to the Mobile. I had Frank in there first, I think. KB9 Romeo Kilo Kilo. How you doing, Frank?
Hi, good evening, Paul. Doing good. I was going to let, if Richard can hear me, he's giving me S9, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, he's got almost a clear shot going west, I guess. By the way, I have to tell you, I don't know if you guys still have them. There's some cards for W4EAO, business cards.
Yes, I'm aware of it.
Okay, are they still those multicolored ones? I just noticed one today. I was looking through a file I had and I saw the card. Are you still using the same ones?
Yeah, I think they only printed one batch of them. I'm trying to think. I think actually Tom has them.
Well, I couldn't help but notice, but how they have that octagon? No, it's a six-sided, little display there that's got the little antenna in the middle of it.
Yep.
Okay, I hate to break it to you, but it should have been proofread. They spelled amateur wrong.
Oh my God. You know what? Let me look. I'm gonna have to look at. I don't have one on me right now. I'm gonna have to look to see if maybe they corrected that. I did kind of enter that little group a little bit towards the late part of it. So yeah, I had nothing to do with that. But yeah, that's what it looks like. It looks like the one you're holding up on YouTube.
Yeah, it's right there. You can pointing to it. Amateur spelled slightly wrong, but I didn't notice it until now, so that makes me kind of dumb. I've had it for a while. I didn't notice it until just now either, but it's such small print, I don't think anybody noticed it.
Well, we'll have to see. I'm going to bring that up to the guys and I'll have to double check it. But yeah, that's a good catch there, Paul. The other thing I was going to add is really weird. I can never hear Larry. I think he's in Rockville. But the other day on Saturday, I heard him in my car going down 45, Old Hickory Boulevard.
Yeah. Well, he'll be probably happy to hear that. But yeah, well, you should be able to hear Larry. That's odd. You're in a reasonably, but it must be there's something bumping the road there between you and him, I bet.
I think it's because my antenna is on one side of my attic, and it's just not making it through all the way through. But in the car, I heard him driving down Lebanon Road and turning on 45. I heard him no problem.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys noticed there was I think I sent out a web link to a guy who designs antennas, and I think one of them was Kevin built one of them. And I think this guy's got a nice little site. It's nothing special, but he has in it, an attic is no place for an antenna. I said, hey, there's another guy who I made that mistake too.
Well, hopefully we'll be getting this bigger antenna out. I got the mount. I got the antenna. It's just I got to rent one of those. I guess I call it like a bucket truck thing, and I think I'm going to try to get it along with somebody else, so I'm not paying for the whole thing. I think Bill needs to do something as well on some maintenance on his, and he's got a vehicle that can pull it because I don't own anything like that. Which reminds me, Richard was joking about the Cobalt. So I have one, and I got probably more money into it than my Z06 Vet.
Oh wow, yeah, I don't know much about the Cobalt. Is it a problem? Is it a problematic vehicle? Is it?
Loosen up behind the wheel.
You talking about you or your wife?
Oh, most definitely me.
All right, very good. Yeah, again, low end. If you've ever been through, and I know you have, since you've worked for manufacturers, if they've ever given an explanation of quality is what you decide it is. And if you tried to you say, well, yeah, Mercedes makes a quality car. Now, is a Lamborghini higher quality? Yeah, in some respect. And is Cobalt the same quality? No, it's not the same quality. It has different tolerances and lower grade materials, and quality is what you're willing to pay for.
Absolutely, you got to define quality, and then then you do management around it because you have to define it. Without definition, it means nothing because it means too many different things to different people. But yeah, no. Anyway, yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there. It's really not been a problem car. It's been a problem because I can't keep things alone, and it's highly modified, and that's where all the money comes in. The engine costs more than the car is worth, but that's just my, as long as I don't sell it, it's fine. If I try to sell it, it's a total waste of money. Anyway, back to Net Control. This is KB9 RKK.
Yeah, very good, Frank. That's Kilo Bravo 9 Romeo Kilo up in Northwest Wilson with Cobalt woes. I don't think I've ever even been in a Cobalt. I know of them. All right, very good. Who else we got north of Mount Juliet? Nothing else north of Mount Juliet? Here's somebody breaking the squelch here.
WB0NOL. Am I making the phone?
You are now, Mark.
Okay. I was in the car when I checked in at first, just pulled in the driveway. So, just wanted to say hello. Good evening. Nothing going on here.
Yeah, I thought I heard somebody say Mobile. That must have been you.
Yep, that was me.
Well, very good. Everything going okay?
Going good. Been out to dinner, just got back. So, it was kind of fun. We went to a restaurant where they actually interviewed me for the Food Channel.
Oh, is that right? Oh, was it one of those upscale kind of restaurants?
Yeah, what kind of? It's my daughter's. And so she called me. She says, Dad, I need friendly faces in the restaurant at 4 o'clock today. So we've been there for the last 4 hours.
I hope you haven't been eating for 4 hours.
Well, we've been snacking and having a little wine.
Oh, man, that's dangerous.
No, that was me.
Well, you know what I mean. It could be dangerous. Let me qualify it.
It could be. But I survived, and I'm home safe, and didn't have Didn't have any problem. I'm not much of a drinker.
Well, so the food must be good there, though.
Yeah, it is. It's good. Company's good. My grandson was there too, so we got to play with him.
Oh, for fear of breaking ham rules, what's your daughter's restaurant's name?
Lyra, Lyra. It's a Middle Eastern restaurant up in East Nashville.
Ah, cool. Sounds like a great. And she obviously specialized in culinary delights in school.
Oh, yeah. Her husband has been a chef forever, and she's in the business. So the two of them put this thing together about a year ago. In fact, they're just coming up on their 1-year anniversary, and we enjoy it. It's a nice atmosphere and something different. It's you don't get Middle Eastern food a lot around here.
No, I don't imagine you do unless you go to Antioch.
That's just middle food.
Yeah. Yeah, I was over in the Middle East when I was in the military, but I don't remember anything special that I liked or didn't like. I wasn't paying that much attention. I was too busy drinking. Yeah, very good, Mark. I hope that she does well. If they lasted a year, then they're doing all right, because restaurants who don't do well usually don't make it the first year. All right, that was Whiskey Bravo Zero, November Oscar, and he's over there in Hermitage. Who else we got? West of north of Mount Juliet. Please come in. Over to the west. Did I already do that? West of Mount Juliet. Please come in.
KN4 TJF.
You sound pretty good tonight. How are you doing, Rick?
Doing well, Paul. How are you, sir?
Yeah, so you're bumping up against almost between S6 and S7 tonight.
Oh, very good. The force be with me, I guess.
Well, again, the distances, like in your case, it is going to, just like you had when you had the other antenna, it's better some nights than others just due to conditions, because obviously your antenna is not changing. If it is, it's only due to temperature. Your feed line, your antenna was all new, so it'd be hard to imagine there was any dramatic changes there. So it's always, or almost always, a condition issue.
Yeah, that's true. I wanted to say thanks for having me on here. I'm going to say 73. Have a good night. We'll talk to you next time.
All right, Rick. That's Rick over in Ashland City, west of Nashville, a few miles. Making a good trip over here to me. In fact, it's harder to make the trip because you got to make it almost through downtown Nashville. That's Kilo November 4, Tango Juliet Foxtrot. Who else west? Please come in. Anyone else west of Mount Juliet? Please come in. All righty, we're almost finished. We have to take late check-ins. Who's late? Please come in.
Whiskey 9, Bravo, Oscar, Quebec. Good evening.
Hey, how you doing, Dennis? You went into the store, I think it was yesterday, and I don't think you ever came out.
Yeah, I forgot to turn my radio. I was real close to home, so I don't think I even turned my radio back on. Man, you moved away from north so fast I couldn't even get in.
Well, you must have missed it because I did call it more than a few times, and we had. That's all right. Well, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I'm putting a light up in my shack on the ceiling. I got the carpeting on the walls. I got the wainscot in. I got the ceiling in. I got the paint colors picked out and bought. I'm just going to put the floor in last so I don't get any paint on it.
Oh, that sounds great. Now, your signal and your audio sounds very good. I mean, it's easy for you to have a good signal strength to me because even when you had a lesser antenna, you did pretty good. But now the audio even sounds better.
Yeah, I've been slowly turning down the gain on this microphone to get it to a better level.
Yeah, that's good. How do you test that for yourself? You try to tape it or something, or how do you do that?
No, Tom, K1KY, just kept on responding and telling me where it sounded best.
Aha, that's a good choice, and Tom would be a good choice to do that for you.
So how you holding up there, Paul? You doing all right?
Oh yeah, not doing fine. It's just it's one of those things. I was you get I don't know what the right word is. You get I can't think of the right word, but you know how I was going through one of my mother's, the albums I have of my mother, and a lot of them were from her youth, you know, when she was between the ages of 1 and, 18, and you see how happy she was, and what, just young, and now she's not young anymore. She's gone, and you just look at it and you go, oh man, I miss her already. I miss her every day, even I try to remember her not as she was sick, but how she was well.
Yeah, same with my mom. I don't picture her laying in bed there. I think of her, mobile and beautiful.
Yeah, no, you just what I liked about I say I liked isn't the right word, but it's interesting to see how kids when you're 0 to 18, if you have a pretty good life, and she had a great mother and dad, my grandmother and grandfather, and she had a great relationship usually with her sister and her brother, and you see her smiling all the time. You could see she was happy almost every picture, just happy, and you just look at it and you go, oh, isn't that great? But now she's even happier, I'm sure.
Remember that scene in Grumpy Old Man? I can't remember the guy's name, but one guy came over in the morning and goes, "Did you hear that Harry died?" And he goes, "No, how did he die?" And he goes, "He died in his sleep." And he said, "That son of a buck."
Well, I certainly would rather die in my sleep than going through the semi-hell of my mother, or some other people have gone through worse than my mom. But you know what I'm saying is it seems a pity that people tend to suffer more in the last periods of their life.
Theodore Roosevelt died in his sleep, and one writer writing a column about him dying said, "Death came to get him while he was sleeping, otherwise there would have been a fight."
Yeah, what always is funny to me when we say that, I always have this little idea that we say, well, he died in his sleep, but it's only because he couldn't scream. He was in so much pain.
Well, I'm going to finish putting this light up. Thanks for the net, Paul. I'm listening in the other room there, so W9BOQ, back to net.
Yeah, very good. There was Dennis, and he's in Castellian Springs with his almost new tower and antenna, and working great. Full signal to me. For good and great audio, as I mentioned. Hope everyone else could hear it too. He put a lot of work into that tower and antenna and getting it all right. Now he's finishing off the interior of his shack, and it sounds great. All right, very good. Who else we got? Any late check-ins? Please come in.
Hello, Mike 4, November Yankee, Bill.
Hey, Bill. Got in a little late, I see. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm just doing wonderful.
Yeah, I bet you it was as hot in Murfreesboro as it was here today.
I don't know. I looked the other day, it was 92 or 93 on my thermometer. No wonder I was slow moving across the yard.
Yeah, it was funny. I went out this morning. I had to take the car over to the inspection place, and I don't know. I usually don't do it, but I rolled the windows down, and it was just a nice morning around 9 o'clock. It really was pretty outside, but it wasn't pretty this afternoon.
Oh, it was just too windy for me to do anything.
Yeah, that was the other problem, because I was driving. It was my wife's car. She's got this compact Toyota Camry, and the wind was blowing it around. You could really feel it. I drive a Crown Victoria, so it doesn't feel anything.
I have to drive an old 22-year-old car, see?
How old is it? I mean, what kind is it that's 22 years old?
It's a Volvo, one of the last ones that they really made.
Ah, yeah, those are nice vehicles. They must have given you good service.
I'd love to have another one just like it. I don't care for the new ones.
So you bought that one new, did you?
Yes, sir. Right off the lot, paper was still on the windows and everything.
Oh, that's sweet. I've never done that. I've taken some leased cars, but I've never bought a brand new car. I mean, the leased ones were nice, but you don't own them.
We've always bought the new car and kept it until we had to have it towed 3 times.
I remember hearing that years and years and years ago. They said the only way you get your money out of a vehicle when you buy it new is you drive it until they can't drive no more.
And I believe every bit of it. The only thing that's ever been really wrong with this car is the air conditioning. The compressor had some problems in them. And just lately the rear window defrost didn't work. And I took it to a place. He said, "Oh, cheapest thing to do is just put a new one in." Well, that didn't go with my billfold. And I went to one of these guys that does the rear window defrost stuff, and he pulled the side off and tested real quick. He says, "There's nothing wrong with it. The fuses were good and everything." So after I played with it a couple days, it's nothing but the little switch on the dash that cost me $5.
Oh, that's awesome. Just a busted switch. Yeah, a lot of things. Yeah, I'd buy a new one. What was the new one? $150 or $200?
$3.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I know. I know. Well, buyer beware. You know, I mean, somebody else would have just done it, but you were the wise one.
They wouldn't have fixed it, but put the new one in.
Oh, they would have. No, then they would have fixed the switch and charged you another $50.
Oh yeah, after you can find the switch.
Exactly. Well, yeah. Again, it's kind of let the buyer beware and all those kind of things. I've had my issues with a dealer or two in my life. So appreciate you being there, Bill. You sound good. That was Kilo Mike 4, November Yankee. Kind of doing an ad for a 22-year-old Volvo that still runs great. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, my wife's Toyota is 16 years old. It has 120,000 miles on it. It runs like a top. Really does run nice. I like it a lot. It just doesn't move very fast with a 4-cylinder engine. All righty. Who else we got? Late check-ins, please, coming in.
84OEN. Hello, Paul and gang. Hope everyone's doing well. Sorry we're so late getting in here. But anyway, hope everyone's doing well and had a good long weekend.
Yeah. Oh, you got a great signal in here tonight, Mary. Yeah, it was a good long weekend. It was very nice. I use that word wrong, but I hate Memorial Day weekend, not because it's Memorial Day weekend. I hate it because it is Memorial Day weekend. I can't, I see things that relate to the men that have been lost, men and women that have been lost in the wars of this country. And it just makes me, it makes me a little weepy patriotic, I'll say.
Totally understand. That's true, I think. And somebody was on Facebook or somewhere I was reading that was saying that people misunderstand that Memorial Day is to remember the ones who have lost their lives and sacrificed their lives for our freedoms. And a lot of people say Happy Memorial Day, and they don't agree with that. It just, you've got all of these different ideas and opinions about it. But anyway, I think it's a good time to remember the fallen soldiers and the ones who are still serving as well. So it's just always a good time to say thank you for your service.
Oh yeah, no, I understand. I get that too. I do remind people if they'll say, "Hey, thanks for serving," and I'll go on Memorial Day and say, "Well, it's really not about me. It's about those that gave their lives for their country." And when you consider how many men and women have been lost in world wars, Vietnam, Korea, etc., it's a lot, and it's a lot of them. They gave their lives in defense of our country and for the defense of other people's.
That's exactly true. We need to always remember that. So I hope you and your wife are doing well, and that you are finding some peace and comfort, and just hearing from friends and family that are expressing their condolences. And just, I know it's going to take a while to get into a kind of another routine for you guys.
Yeah, very much. I give it, and I'm glad you brought that up again about the Memorial Day, because one of the things I thought was really neat, and I'm not a big fan of Russia since they're kind of our arch enemy, but their people aren't our arch enemy. But one of the customs in Russia, and I guess it's been going on for I don't know how long. I'm guessing 100 years. I really don't know. Maybe longer. But one of the customs they have is when you get married, when a couple gets married, the first place the couple goes after the wedding isn't the reception. They go to the local cemetery or World War II or World War I memorial, and they put flowers on the graves. And I thought, what a great way to start a wedding.
That's very interesting. I had never heard that tradition, but that's very touching, I think. I like that.
Oh, I liked it just because it continued that kind of a tradition honors, because you have to remember we tend to forget that. And that's what's nice about Memorial Day. We tend to forget that there's people. And I grew up. You and me and Marty, you're about the same age, and I grew up with a lot of World War II veterans. Some of them, were still disabled as a result of the war. But I also knew families who lost their husbands or their brothers, and or we came back maimed, and it's like I grew in it. So when I see people who have lost their lives, they didn't give their life in vain. I don't ever want to forget.
Exactly. We did not want to forget that. Well, it's good to hear from you, and thanks once again for all the good work you do here on the Simplex Net. And I'm going to pass the mic on over to Marty and let him say howdy. And we will talk to you guys on the weekend. Take care. Katie 4OEN, clear.
All right, thanks, Mary. Hello, Marty.
Hello, Paul.
I think I left you hanging yesterday. I said I had to do something. I remember what it was and got involved in something and never got back to the radio.
Well, I didn't know where you were.
I probably didn't know where I was. I know what I was having. I was having one of those dog problems. He was making a racket or something. I was going to figure out what he was doing, and it didn't work out well, I don't think. But you're not hanging out too much outside this afternoon, were you?
No, I didn't like that.
No, not too much fun. Well, good to have you in there, Marty, and I appreciate you, Mary, being there. And that was Mary, Kilo Delta 4, Oscar, Echo, November, and Marty, Kilo Delta 4, Bravo, Quebec, Kilo. And they're both in Belshire in the same household, husband and wife. Good to have you both in there. Who else late check-ins? Please come now. You don't want to fall into that lurker or sandbagger territory, do you? Any other late check-ins? Please come now. Well, it doesn't sound like there's going to be anybody, but I'll ask anyway. Lurkers and sandbaggers and lollygaggers, of course, they know who they are. And SDR donglers and scanner listeners and end-time survivalists, preppers, please come in. All right, that's all we got. All right, no more check-ins. Well, one last time for any of the categories, late check-ins or otherwise, please come in. All righty, don't forget, mark your calendars for June 22nd for the field day, or the net tomorrow night for the Wilson County Amateur Radio Group on Thursday night at 8 p.m. And of course, the Mid-Tennessee Ham Quest July 27th. You don't want to miss that. It's a nice, I think that's one of the biggest, not the longest running, because I think Cedars of Lebanon will give you a run for the money, but it's a nice big ham fest with there's a tool vendor there. And there's also one of the ham vendors is there. Ham World, I believe is the name of it. But anyway, that's July 27th. And last chance for check-ins for a move on here. All right, we had 19 check-ins, a little lower than normal, but you never know in the summer what's going on with people coming and going. And we got lots of, it's a hobby. It's not a mandatory event. So appreciate everybody who's there. Appreciated everyone's comments and input. And we'll even accept criticism if you're nice. We'll catch you later. 73. Have a great night, everybody. K4 PEW. Closing on that. We're out of here.